You already know what time it is, yo. It's rant time. It's motherfucking rant time. And today I'm gonna be ranting about something that the FGC might deem controversial. But honestly, I don't give a fuck. Because most of these motherfuckers ain't even been around long enough. They new on the Tekken 7 bandwagon. So, I'm talking about the future artistic direction of Tekken 7 and what I feel about it. And explaining the reasons why I don't like Tekken 7. Story mode is terrible. People are fooled because it's done in a NetherRealm kind of way, where it's constant cinematics, high quality cinematics, and some fights in between, that's a good story. No, it's not. If you actually know the fucking lore of Tekken, the basic lore, we ain't even getting into the canon, the super nuanced canon, and the non-canon shit that's going on behind the scenes. It makes no fucking sense at all. Kazuya in the last battle, which I actually did like the showdown between Kazuya and Heihachi, Kazuya actually manages to go full power. How the fuck could he possibly go full power if he's missing his other his other half? He never got the other half of the devil out of Jin in Tekken 4. He failed when it came to that. So how the fuck was he able to go full power? That makes no sense. When you start asking questions like this, the fucking story mode itself falls apart. The source of the devil gene didn't make sense from an artistic standpoint. We all know that we all thought that Jinpachi was the actual source of the devil gene because he was kind of marketed that way in a, without actually saying. He irradiated a purple ore, he looked it like a demon, the man even had a fucking giant mouth growing out of his chest. But no, that's demonic possession. We're just gonna say that as the unofficial reason, and we're just gonna keep it moving. Fast forward to Tekken 7, Kazumi is supposed to be the source of the devil gene. You're told right off the back that she's the source of the devil gene, and she's basically marketed as somebody who is just innately fucking evil. Her motives didn't even make any sense. You wanted to marry Heihachi so you could take his power and kill him? And when you look at her base form, she looks like an angel. She doesn't even look like a villain character. But if you know the story, they make Heihachi the same person in Tekken 3, where Heihachi, when Jun's last words to Jin was go seek your grandfather, and he learned the Mishima Ryu fighting style, a combination of Kazuya's fighting style, Jun's fighting style, and Heihachi's fighting style. Heihachi sent him in, he trained his grandson, only to send him into the tournament as bait, to draw Ogre out. That's some evil shit. You make this guy the good guy? You make this guy the sympathetic character? And then when Jin failed in defeating Ogre and actually killing Ogre, Heihachi shot him in the back of the fucking head. That don't sound like a hero to me. That don't sound like nobody you should be sympathetic towards. That's why I say Tekken 7 story mode didn't make sense at all if you know the fucking lore. Jin would go on in Tekken 4 to unlearn the Mishima Ryu's fighting style, and thus this is why he has karate. But his devil form still uses the Mishima Ryu fighting style. This one made me fucking mad as fuck. Because if you know the history of how Tekken has been treated in the FGC, it's a slap in the face to everybody that's been with Tekken since the fucking beginning, before it was fucking popular, and when Tekken was going through their struggles of not really selling units like that, barely cracking 200 units sold, 2 million units sold. They made Akuma a part of the official lore. This is a fucking slap in the face, and I'ma explain why. Tekken has always been in Street Fighter's shadow. Even when Street Fighter wasn't around, there are people that I hear today in the fucking FGC that say, oh, fighting games were dead before Street Fighter 4 returned. Before Street Fighter returned with Street Fighter 4. No, it wasn't. Some of the best Tekkens came out during that fucking time. Y'all were just fucking fanboys of your particular fucking game, and you weren't paying attention to the atmosphere that was happening during fighting games. Pretty much every other game was failing in some type of way. You had the god-awful 3D Mortal Kombats like Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. You had those terrible 3D polygonal fucking games. Tekken was on they shit. You had Tekken 4, which a lot of people don't like, but it did a lot of innovative shit, and it's a reason why we know some of this lore anyway. They actually took the time, cut the roster down, you know, like a lot of these FGC dudes be talking about Tekken 7 is bloated. They cut the roster down to an even size. They implemented some wall mechanics. I didn't like the wall switching, the position switching mechanics. They were a little weird. It felt a little virtual fighter-ish to me. But they also took the time to explain who these characters are and why they look the way they look and why they act the way they look. But you have people in the FGC nowadays that say fighting game stories don't matter. But stories matter in every other game. These are the retarded individuals that I be running into. And I'm hearing this shit parroted way too many times. Okay, so when it comes to anime, it better have a fucking fire story. It better have great design. Otherwise, it's fucking trash. But fighting games, all they gotta do is basically make some fucking characters, make some goddamn good-ass frame data, make some good punishment tools, and y'all good to go. So y'all would just play gray fucking 3D polygonal textures in the fucking FGC with no color, as long as it's good. Get the fuck out of here. Character is what implements character design. Music, stage, story, design. That is what makes a character. These are the same people that like shit like Naughty Dog. Drake is a full realized character. They designed him, just the aesthetics, then they gave him personality. That's written. That's written dialogue. That's a story. This shows that motherfuckers are just followers and they actually don't think for themselves. The soundtrack was terrible. I remember the first time I've heard Tekken 3's music, I knew then I wanted to be a musician. And the person who actually did the music for Tekken 3, his name was Sano DG. He goes by that alias. Tekken 7 soundtrack, I've tried listening to it dozens of times, and I always come to the same conclusion, that it's lackluster compared to their previous works of art. It's a step backwards. Almost everything about Tekken 7 is a step backwards, but it's the highest selling Tekken. The average person has shit taste overall. They don't look at shit from an artistic lens. They don't look at shit from a objective lens. They just consume. This is why we get garbage products. Now I will give you this. Some of the songs in Tekken 7 are good, but they're the songs that you would expect to be good, like the intro music, the character customization music, and some of the music in story mode. But the shit that you fight to? Oh no, it's the most obnoxious shit ever. It's really, really loud fucking EDM, and it gets more and more obnoxious and gets more and more louder as it goes on. One thing that killed me, because people send me some of the tracks and people want to know what I think about the game. Even though I don't talk about the game, I've remained silent with my feelings towards the game for the last 3 years. So that's why I just don't say nothing, because people don't like truth nowadays. People like to live in a fantasy realm where everything is excellent. What makes shit excellent is critique. That's a part of growing. How the fuck you supposed to know if you're doing something wrong if no one tells you? Or if you're going in a wrong direction? But I knew that the soundtrack was lackluster when a homie of mine sent me the Tekken 5 sparking theme. The first 4 minutes of it was amazing, but keep listening to that shit. They start bringing in Pac-Man sounds, all types of squibbly shit. I'm like, bro, this is getting ridiculous. I see what you tried to do, but it was unnecessary. A lot of Tekken 7 soundtrack, it lacks any type of real harmony. It's mostly sound effects. And I would be okay with that if it was dope and it was done in the way that Tekken Tag Tournament 2 or even Tekken 6 was done. And I don't even really... This soundtrack, Tekken 7 soundtrack, made me appreciate Tekken 6 soundtrack that much more. Because when Tekken 6 soundtrack first came out, I hated it. I was like, what is all this yodeling sheep shit? And now I see, in hindsight, what they were trying to do. One of my favorite songs on the on Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was a continue theme. Same with Tekken 7. I love Tekken 7's continue theme. It kind of alluded to that he was kind of touching on trap without actually touching on it. For some real reason, we could do all types of music in fighting games, but not trap for some reason. If you do trap music the right way, it could fit the pacing of a Tekken fight. There were some unofficial Tekken Tag Tournament 2 songs that's on YouTube that you can look up, where they did flips of Jin's music and like even some of the characters being KO'd. It was pretty creative. But anyway, I digress. Classic characters originally got replaced. Gigas was obviously supposed to replace Marta. Josie was obviously supposed to replace Bruce. And I feel so sorry for Bruce mains like Poor Chop, because Poor Chop's mains have been, since Tekken 6, Brian and Bruce. Okay, you got Brian in there, but Bruce was his guy. Like, even his logo is that of a silhouette that looks like Bruce. So I always wonder how he felt about him. They take a cool, unique black character that's not stereotypical out, and they give you a basically a sexist fucking stereotypical version of a fucking anime character, where when Josie wins, she actually starts crying and is on the floor in a very submissive position. Okay, you have to make up your mind which direction you moving in. None of these characters could even replace classic characters like Lei, Anna, or none of them, because they had, not only did they have unique designs, they had timeless designs, and they had personality. We know the basic shit about Anna. Anna and Nina have a rivalry. Lei Wulong is a super cop, which is inspired by Jackie Chan. We know that. Who are these new characters? They look generic. Have you looked at Claudio? He looks stupid. And since I have friends that watch anime and shit, because I don't really like new age anime. I'm Fist of the North Star, shit like that. That's when I thought it was at its best. Nowadays, it's too much fucking fan service. And it's making all forms of entertainment bad. It's making it very cringeworthy. Because you know what the problem is with fan service? It pleases those fans, but newer viewers, when they see that shit, they look at it as cringe. It's very cringy. Josie, cringy. Claudio, cringy. Bob, cringy. You put a fat character in Tekken 6 because you thought fat people are funny. Eliza. Some say Eliza was supposed to replace Anna. I knew Tekken was going downhill when Eliza was unveiled in Tekken Revolution. When I played that game, made it all the way to 24th Dan. I was like, this shit is fucking terrible. It was filled with hackers and all types of shit. But we gonna cover that shit later on in the rant about hackers and cheaters and all that shit. Cause it's 2020 and Tekken still ain't even found a way to fucking deal with boosters and fucking lag switchers and people who play on fucking Wi-Fi. Master Raven was supposed to replace Raven. That shit pissed me off. Raven was a cool, unique character that was inspired by Wesley Snipes. You take him out and you give us a generic ass black woman with dreads. And I know why Harada did that, because we asked for an original black female character in Tekken on Twitter a couple of years ago, when we were supposed to be getting Kazuma Kiryu. We still never got Kazuma Kiryu in Tekken 7. We got everybody else. We got stupid characters like Noctis, Lucid, whatever the fuck his name is. He's not even a fighter. That don't even make any sense. That's why I never really had a problem with Akuma being in the game. I had a problem with him being a part of the official lore. Geese, I thought, was excellent. Because if anybody grew up on King of Fighters 97, the SNK days of Samurai Showdown, but you replace Raven, a cool, unique black character, with this generic fucking, basically, Master Raven is Raven with boobs. And I've literally heard people, when I'm talking to them, they was like, oh, I only like Master Raven because Master Raven is a female and she has boobs. I'm like, you're obviously a fucking pervert, and you obviously fap to video games. But I digress. These are the type of fucking people Harada's trying to please. These fucking weirdos. Overall lackluster single player experience. Tekken 7 is in its 3rd season. And it came out in 2015, and the single player is still bare bones. Still bare bones. It has less content and modes than Tekken 4. and Tekken 3 and Tekken 2. Probably even Tekken 1. And this is supposed to be the best Tekken? Get the fuck out of here. Lackluster customization compared to previous installments. Even professional Tekken players on YouTube that I follow, they have all mentioned at some point in time that the customization in Tekken 7 is lackluster. You have less options than you had in Tekken Tag Tournament 2. And Tekken Tournament 2 had less options than Tekken 6 had. Tekken 6 being the pinnacle of customization. You had hair pieces that you can combine and all types of shit. My homie, who is a excellent Eddie Gordo player, the man Korean backdashes and he's a goddamn beast. He has like a fucking 80, a damn near 90 win % ratio online. And he made Eddie Gordo look like Ronald McDonald. And I've spent years playing Tekken 6 and I never even knew you could do shit like that. People made Law look like Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star. Like, put on all the armor pieces. It's fucking amazing how much depth Tekken 6 had. But when new games come out, you gotta shit on the old games, cause that's what followers do. It's funny that we call this the FGC. Is this really about us? Cause Marvel vs. Capcom 2 got brought back. Who the fuck actually has the final say-so in doing that? But motherfuckers ain't bring Virtua Fighter 5 back. That's the type of shit I be seeing that be like, yo, this FGC shit is fake. It's fake as fuck. I see motherfuckers be you just trying to build a name and make money. And let's not even get started on the shit that happened earlier this year where half the people in the FGC got outed as pedophiles and weirdos, which I've been saying for fucking years. This is why a lot of real niggas like me don't really fuck with a lot of these niggas in these spaces. I got the few people that I fuck with, and those people know who they are because I support their content. Poor character models, poor textures, and overall poor character design in general. Claudio has a poor character design. It's unrefutable. Lucky Chloe has a poor character design. It's unrefutable. Look at some of the fucking textures and shit. In Tekken 6, a game that came out on the Octave engine in 2007, look at Kazuya in 2007, and now look at Kazuya running on the Unreal Engine 4, a game that was released in 2015. Tekken 7 Kazuya? Tekken 6 Kazuya. The hair texture is much more improved in the 2007 game than a state-of-the-art, quotations, next-gen, 8th generation game. The skin textures look very poor. The netcode is still terrible on consoles. So many of my fucking friends who both own Tekken 7 and still play the older Tekkens. If Tekken 7 was truly that great, why are they playing Tekken 6 and Tekken Tag Tournament 2 with me? Obviously, if it was really that great, you wouldn't want to go back. It's because it's not. Not on consoles, that is. Everybody that I follow, they play Tekken on PC. But the console people, especially Tekken on PSN, is terrible. It's no better than it was during the days of Tekken Tag Tournament 2. Rage drives and rage arts. This one I find fucking hilarious. I find it so funny that we're all the people that was complaining about rage arts in Tekken 6. Now you got rage arts and rage drives, and nobody complains at all. And make it worse, in season 3, 2 combos and you're dead. When people used to complain, oh man, I hate getting juggled. That's all the fuck I see in Tekken 7. Motherfucker getting juggled like crazy. It's possibly the worst game in terms of balance. I think this one is irrefutable. I ain't never seen no Tekken with so many hitbox issues, so many broken characters. And it'd be funny, people told me to my face, and I'm like, do not insult my intelligence, that this is the best Tekken. Really, is it? When we had the when we had the Leroy fiasco, where the top 10 were all Leroy players, he single-handedly broke the whole entire tournament scene. Nobody else was using any other character besides Leroy, and he got patched and he's still fucking busted. He's still considered broken and people still fucking complaining about him. And then when they patch Leroy, something else in the fucking game break. Then you had the shit with Fakumra and him being completely broken. They had to rework some of his range on his pokes because they were fucking ridiculous. This shows me that people not looking at shit with an analytical lens. They're not being objective. They're just consuming fucking products. I noticed in Tekken 7 that some of the characters' legs look small. Like Craig Marduk, he looks disproportionate. Craig Marduk has these fucking little ass fucking legs and this huge upper body. He looks completely disproportionate. Mind you, we wasn't even supposed to get the legacy characters brought back. They didn't intend on doing that. They intended to drop Lei, Anna, Armor King. They did that shit last minute. They just brought Koremitsu back. Konemitsu. I think that shit retarded as fuck. Yoshimitsu killed Konemitsu. It's in the lore. But you have people in the fucking Tekken community asking for Konemitsu to be back. Canonically, she's dead. When does she have time to have a daughter? This show you that motherfuckers don't think. What make you a fan to me is when you know the fucking lore. We fans and we fucking gamers first. And I'm a fucking gamer. I love fucking Tekken. I've been playing that shit 23 fucking years. I know the lore of all the fucking characters. I can talk your damn ears off about all of them. From 1 through 6, I got you. Tekken 7, I have no fucking idea what the fuck is going on. It's like they rebooted the fucking series on the low and didn't tell nobody. But for this to be, Tekken 7 to be the conclusion of the Mishima saga, it was a weak ass conclusion. The only thing that was dope was a fight between Kazuya and Heihachi. And even when experiencing that fight, I'm like, okay, Kazuya just went full power. He went into his full power Devil Gene mode. How the fuck is that possible? He tried to get his other half from Jin and the whole Maru in Tekken 4. He failed. Jin whooped both of their asses. And then flew off and broke the ceiling. And then thus the events of Tekken 5 began. Can't fuck with me when it come to that lore, man. I know my shit. This is why motherfuckers used to call me the Tekken coach. The gaming enthusiast. Now I got the new name, the gaming connoisseur. I know too much about these fucking games. But those are the reasons why I don't like Tekken 7. So people can stop asking me. I haven't really seen any new improvement or anything innovative. But anyway, man, with that said, man, I'm out.
Suck my dick, suck my dick, suck my dick and suck my dick, suck my dick, suck my dick. If you don't really like it, you can suck my dick, suck my motherfucking dick. A baby.